Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about a joke formula today, rather than an exercise, because I've sent a few of those over, and I hope you're enjoying them, playing around with them. I want to show a formula today, and there's three joke formulas I usually introduce people to. There's the reverse, the comic triple, or the power of three, and the triple reverse. And instead, I'm going to teach the triple reverse first, rather than teach the individual bits and then talk about the triple reverse. So, what is the triple reverse? You might recognize this from maybe like a best man speech, or some kind of event where one person, like the host, is introducing someone else. And you can imagine this line, the host saying, "I'd like to introduce a man with a lot of charm, talent, and wit. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight, so here instead is John." So it creates the tension there with, "I'd like to introduce a man with a lot of charm, talent, and wit." It seems like it's a genuine introduction, a very, not even, more than polite. It's a generous, very positive introduction. And then immediately the rug is pulled out, and it's like, "Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, so instead here's John." So that's a few different things going on there. So the premise sets it up with three. So that's the triple element: a man with a lot of charm, talent, and wit. So it's obvious there that that's a very positive description. There's no ambiguity there. Three positive compliments. He's got charm, talent, and wit. So that builds up the context and the expectation that he's going to introduce someone that he or she is going to introduce someone that they really like. And then it's, "Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight." So that begins the pulling the rug from underneath the listener, the audience. And then the humor comes from, "So instead, here's John." And that's what it implies. It hasn't been said outright that the person you're referring to doesn't have charm, talent, and wit. It's not a direct insult, but it kind of says that I've got to tell you that the person that did have charm, talent, and wit's not going to be here. Instead, we've got John. So it's not it's like there's ambiguity there. There's the ambiguity. It's you're kind of saying that the person you're introducing is not quite as good as the person I had planned. So that's there's two elements there. There's the triple, which is the setting up the context: charm, talent, wit, and then the reverse is the rug being pulled under. So he couldn't be here tonight, and instead here's John. And obviously with intonation, that can be made very funny. Especially, the tension is built with the triple, and then it is released with the reverse. And so here's another one that works in, and I've used this in emails to get myself on podcasts, is I would start with greetings, first name. Greetings, Joe. I wanted to introduce myself in a way that shows I'm honest, clever, and witty. And then 1 out of 3 ain't bad, right? That's okay. Actually, a better one, I think, and I'll probably change this example, is one. Actually, I haven't used this example. This is a variation on one that I've used. One that I use regularly is I wanted to introduce myself in a way that shows I'm interesting, witty, and clever. Alas, I wrote this invite instead. Or alas, I wrote this email instead. And that works in print, or in an email. It works without the benefit of intonation. So imagine starting an email. It's a great generic way of starting an email that gets people to smile or laugh. And I use that exact line in an email to Kevin Rogers, and that's how I got on his podcast. He's he's a stand-up comedian and a copywriter. So I wanted to introduce myself in a way that shows I'm interesting, witty, and clever. Alas, I wrote this email instead. So there's an example of it, how you can use it in an email, and the classic example of it being used at an event where you're trying to introduce someone. So there is the triple reverse. Hopefully you can have a play around with that, or you can just steal those, the example I've given verbatim. It does work. But I would employ you to have a little play with it. You could, just play with the different variables. The three keywords, they're honest, clever, and witty. Just play around, and I'd love to hear your feedback on me doing videos like this. This is the first one I've done like this, so I'd love to hear your feedback. Hopefully you found this useful. Speak to you in a bit. Bye bye.